Welcome back to the Slanted Attic Experience. Today we're thrilled to have Vincent with us, a multi-talented musician and creative powerhouse with a passion for music that spans from Debussy to Tool and Richmond's own D'Angelo. Vincent's love for music deepened during the COVID era, reigniting his dedication to the guitar and inspiring him to truly master the instrument. Drawing from influences like Trey Anastasio, Mark Speer, and, of course, Jimi Hendrix. But Vincent's interests don't stop there. He's a devoted fan of fantasy realms like Warhammer 40k, The Lord of the Rings, and The Last of Us, as well as an enthusiastic supporter of the Tennessee Volunteers, Buffalo Bills, and LA Dodgers. As the guitarist for Richmond's Big Red and the Cowboy Killers, he brings original psychedelic rock creations to life, alongside a mix of unexpected covers. We'll talk music, live performances, sports, gaming, and more. This is one episode you don't want to miss. Today we're joined by a brand new guest. His name is Vincent. So, Vincent, if you want to take it away, just tell the people out in the void a little bit about yourself before we get started here.
Yeah, hey, this is Vincent Steenberg. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I've lived here probably 4 years. Before then, I was in college, and then I was living here before that. I grew up here. So I'm also in a band, Big Red and the Cowboy Killers.
That's right.
Yeah. Big fan of music, all forms of music. I know that's cliche to say, but truly. And then I just got back from a 4-day fish festival. So
Love
I'm
that.
feeling refreshed.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. A fun thing that Vincent and I did together, we were at Bonnaroo together last year, which was pretty cool. I'd never really been to a lot of festivals or any festivals, if that, before Bonnaroo 2022. So, you guys already seasoned vets at that point last year, you already knew it was up. And I kind of had my bearings after the first year. So it was fun being a part of a large group, and doing that. But anyways, I wanted to ask you about your weekend experience. So I kind of looked into it. It was, what is it? The Mondegreen Festival? Is that
Yeah,
how
it's called Mondegreen. Mondegreen's like you like confuse a lyric.
interesting.
So like any kind of their example, or I think they opened with this song, but it was called the MoMA Dance, and it's to be confused with The Moment Ends. So like it's one of those things. So anytime people confuse lyrics, it's called a Mondegreen.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Fun fact for everybody out there. I did not
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
So you said it was 4 days, and I noticed obviously Fish played every day, but there was another stage for other bands to play at throughout the day, right? Because they were more of like afternoon to night type
Yeah,
sets.
there was it's basically Fish's Festival, and they've always just done it by themselves. Occasionally they have like one or two other artists. And so this year they had like a DJ late night thing. Made of Oak, which is like Sylvanesso.
Okay.
DJ did a Saturday set, and then Questlove was on Sunday. He did like a set. But generally speaking, it's really just them. And there's also a radio station, which is where we hung out for the most part,
That's neat.
outside of the shows. It's literally like a radio station, with just like a glass panel where you can see the person changing the music. But then they blast it outside of it. So after the show's over, this radio is playing 24/7. We would
Hmm.
just go hang out there all night
Yeah.
after the
So
show.
So what's your typical day look like? If they're playing, I guess, towards the later afternoon, evening, right? And they're doing like two sets. But what do you get up and do at 10 o'clock in the morning, assuming you stayed up till 3 o'clock the night before, type of deal?
Move slowly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. So like you said, we were at Bonnaroo together. You know how it's like go, 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 and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
as soon as you wake up, it's like 100 degrees in the 10, and you're like, oh shoot, I gotta get to see Grungvin over here at this stage at 2 o'clock and Mac DeMarco at five, whatever it is. This it's just very chill. There's you wake up and move slowly. You maybe grab a breakfast burrito, and then you head on into the venue for some like activities. Like there's so much going on outside of the music for what they do. and I think they do that on purpose, where they don't want you to listen to music all day and then be like drained by the headliner.
Sure.
They'd rather you go and, they had like trivia and like comedy shows, and they have like beer tastings and like weird, wacky, like art exhibits, like lots of art exhibits that are like super, literally surreal. But they had something called the Surrealist Bowl, like play on words,
Yeah.
and spent a lot of time there. But yeah, so we'd wake up and do all those weird activities, and then come like 6:30, I think was showtime. You just kind of filter in, and we usually hung kind of towards the back, but it was just such a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. I have never actually seen Fish live. I've been talking to Coleman about it because, he's a huge, massive fan. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
love their music. I mean, I listen to it on Spotify. It's not like I actively not searching out a place to go, but like something like that's a little expensive for me to warrant, just to see them for my first time. Although I do think it would be a blast, right? But they don't really come anywhere near Richmond. Maybe once the amphitheater is finished, you think?
Yeah, I bet they'll play there. They used to come to Hampton Coliseum a fair amount. I think the chances become actually lower if they continue to do this festival year in and year out, just because it's just like an awkward distance. But maybe they'll play Bonnaroo too, and we can go out to Bonnaroo again, because they did play
Absolutely.
in 2019, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the year
Yeah.
that Grace went. And that's they didn't have one in 2020 or 2021. I think it was
2020 and 2021 were both canceled. I had tickets to 2021, and that was fun having that canceled, being in Nashville, and
yeah.
so
Oh,
yeah, but
sure. Damn,
yeah, it was pretty
that would
brutal.
be so nice too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not having to
yeah,
drive, what is it, like 12 hours, 13 hours for us? I can't even
oh
remember.
yeah,
Brutal. Yeah.
yeah,
That
it's a
drive.
haul.
Yep, yep. I think last year we did half of it, or like 8 hours, and then stayed overnight somewhere in Tennessee, and then did the other like 4 in the morning. But the year before that, we drove straight, I want to say. Or no, we
Yeah,
stayed so no, we stayed in Roanoke.
yeah, it's
Roanoke.
probably right in between. There, like Bristol is probably
Yeah.
right in between. I have like friends, and so I think at least when I was in college, when I went those couple of times, I had a place in Knoxville, so
There you go.
um, it was real easy drive, and had a lot of people going too. Now it's a little tougher. But Fish and Bonnaroo definitely have like a connection. I'm pretty sure like Bonnaroo exists because Fish broke up in 2003 or four.
Really?
I think, yeah, or 2002 or something is when it started. Yeah, it's in the modern festivals kind of built off of Fish festivals. That's why there's so much art at Bonnaroo, and like so much. They originally had like more jammier lineups and stuff, but I think that's why Bonnaroo's like a great festival even today. I think partially because it kind of started with those kind of roots. Um,
Absolutely. No, I'm 100%
yeah,
with you. The only thing I disliked, I guess, about the year that I first went, 2022, and Grace said a lot had changed in the previous couple years, with the two festivals being canceled, Live Nation buying out Bonnaroo. Because when I went, it seemed a little commercial,
yep,
compared to what I had seen from prior years, the
mhm,
Verizon tent, the Grey Goose Lounge, all that type of shit, which
yep,
ultimately didn't ruin the experience for me, by any means whatsoever. But
mhm.
it is a little more sad to see these mega brands ingraining themselves in music, which is just so opposite of like, structured
Yeah.
corporate. Yeah,
Art can exist for the sake of art. It doesn't need to be put with corporations
right,
necessarily.
right.
So
Yeah, but I mean, that all aside, that year was awesome. I think my
yeah, very
favorite
fun.
set was the War on Drugs. I think at the Who stage at like 5 o'clock on Saturday. It's incredible.
Yeah, the
I
war on drugs were great. They're
I've been
great.
waiting for them to come somewhere around Richmond, and they haven't since then. I'm like, oh my god, I want to see them again so bad. And they've
You
been
should look up a picture of their of the guitarist pedal board. I know you've seen me play, and
yeah.
I have like a decent, especially for a local band. I probably have a pretty like big setup, but his is like it's it's absurd. It's like 500 pedals,
Oh my
not
god.
actually, but it's like it's a ridiculous. ridiculous thing to look at.
That's insane. No, I'm gonna save it
I
and
have
try.
I have no idea how he manages to like honestly even reach the pedals to turn them on. I'm sure
Yeah,
he has probably a switcher, but
that's
it's
craziness.
yeah, it's and I feel like most people with that big of a setup usually just rely on like a pedal rack, but he actually has everything like in front of him.
Interesting. So okay. Let's layman terms it, dumb it down for me and everybody else in the audience that doesn't play a guitar
Yeah,
or a musician, or not a musician,
mhm,
a musical instrument.
sure.
So I'm looking at all of these pedals and knobs on the ground, and obviously each one of those is probably going to manipulate some sort of sound one way or the other. What are some, you know, generic ones or basic ones that beginner musicians are going to use as a guitarist?
Yeah, I guess overdrive. I mean, the guitar. I'll start there. That's where you have most of the pedals, anyways. But some effects would be like overdrive is the main one for guitar. That's just like um, I won't get into gain staging because that's a whole thing. But basically, you're like clipping the signal and creating like distortion. Think
Hmm.
Van Halen, like or Led Zeppelin, where it's like kind of crunchy. And the more you turn it up, it turns more into like a Metallica.
Yeah.
And you can get into like there's different kinds of overdrives, which is a whole different thing. There's like a fuzz. There's just straight overdrive. Um, uh, there's distortion, and they all do different things. And the listener, it's one of those things where the listener might not know it's going on,
Mhm.
but they might like one thing or another about it, but without realizing it. And then there's on the effects side, there's like reverb, which is instead of reverb would be like yelling into a church, and then delay, which is more of like an echo,
Right.
so you hear it back forth. And then there's also like modulation, which
Mhm.
is more like, for better or worse, it's just wobbliness from the
Yeah, yeah.
signal. So like, which can be from volume. It can be like loud and quiet, which is called tremolo.
Mhm.
And then there can be vibrato, which is like you can think of like vibrato when you sing. It's just changing the pitch back and forth. Those are most of the common ones. Chorus. I use something called a univibe, which is like a phaser, which is a whole phasers are a whole thing.
Okay.
Um, and this is mostly what gets used in guitar. I'd say most of the time you're just going to get on most guitar tracks you're going to get reverb, some overdrive, maybe delay, maybe a touch of modulation. But that's a simple rundown of the effects. Now the effects he has, you can get into like glitch delays, which send a pitch higher, lower, and then you have
Oh,
like all
wow.
these crazy signals. You use a wah pedal is also a common one, which is like a filter. I don't know how layman's terms that was, but
No, that's pretty good. I mean, I have a
yeah,
general baseline understanding of music. I played the
yeah,
trumpet when I was in middle school, so, none
yeah.
of that really resonates, but I
You didn't have
understand.
like glitch delays on the trumpet.
Yeah, right. No, I generally understand, like, terms of music, and I listen to a lot of it, so I understood a good bit of what you were saying there. So I guess a follow-up question to that, and then we'll swap to something else, because I had something else interesting to ask you. So, like, are all of those buttons that you can press with your foot and they cause different loops of different times and different effects, or like do you have to turn knobs? Like how complex does your footwork have to be when it when you're doing that shit live, especially?
I make it complicated for myself. I'll I actually have my footwork is pretty good because I've added what's called like wing. They're called some little company called like wingtips or something like that. I don't know, but like it's a higher up thing that I can turn with my foot. So I
Ah.
can change. I'm like, if you see me, I'm like
Oh yeah.
always good
Oh
with
yeah,
my
I've
feet,
seen
but
you do that. Oh yeah, of course, of course.
but most of those knobs like I try to leave in place and like not to think. The ultimate goal I think in music, in live music and improvised music, is to just not think in a sense,
Sure.
like state of flow. And I think honestly, it's in it can apply to sports. It can apply to almost anything. It's like a state of flow. You're trying to let go and just do without thinking. There's a lot of you know, books, and studying that state of flow is important. I read something about a Miles Davis book that explained the state of flow for him. Jimi Hendrix has talked about it. But anyways, pedals, I like to not think about it. But so in the moment, I like to have the pedals exactly where they are. I try not to change them unless they're like, I know where I can change it. They can, you should have to like, I don't like changing my gear much once I have it. And I like it because it's just more to know and think about. But I also like trying out new things. So if I feel like, and when you're improvising, you always want something new to kind of like give ideas to other people, or for, you know, you think of something new. You always want to be like on your toes and be able to do what you hear in your head. But at the end of the day, I basically have my board, where I have like my main effects. The boards, I know really well. It's stuff I've used forever. I don't even have to think about it. I can literally just reach my foot down. It's there. It's in the same spot, exactly how it. And then I have like an effects thing that it's called a helix for the guitarists listening.
There we go.
And it can be an amp. It can be a bunch of things and a modeler and all this stuff. But it's essentially just, for me, it's just effects. You know, it's where I can get my crazier sounds. It can get out of hand at times, but it's fun. That's like my kind of crazy effects land, whereas the other stuff is like my standard stuff.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so from the photo I'm looking at, and from what I know, there's a shit ton of options when it comes to all that stuff. But that's something else that, you know, makes music unique, right? Somebody may use some sort of effect in a different way than another guy that he never thought of. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Univibe is my favorite sound of all time. Like, it's by far, and I think it's kind of like the secret sauce of Jimi Hendrix. But Pearl Jam uses it as well on a lot of tunes, but they use like a setting on it that sounds completely different. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, super neat. Yeah, I had an idea of how much like string music could be manipulated, but obviously not partaking in it myself. It's way better hearing it from your contextual point of view. You know what I mean? Like, I never understand it in that aspect unless I was a guitarist for X amount of years. Speaking of that, though, I know we've had this conversation before, but I kind of wanted to just ask you like your largest music influences. Let us know when you started playing guitar, and how you know, kind of got involved with a band. I remember watching you at Cabell's Hill. What was that? Almost 3 years ago now. And I remember us meeting before that when you were picking up the guitar. And if you could just, you know, run through that, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, my life of music kind of thing. I feel like everyone has like a life of music, you know, like stuff you just listen to. But I started with my first CDs were the Shrek soundtrack.
Hell yeah, baby.
And the Shrek 1 soundtrack, the good one, you know. And the American Idiot soundtrack.
Yeah, green.
That I stole from my brother. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Well, I stole it because it said "fuck." I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever."
Yeah.
Of course, my brother stole it back because he was in like middle school. He's like, "You little shit."
Yeah.
So that's where it started, and then my oldest brother Wes got a guitar. It was like this red Squire Strat. I think everyone, maybe like 50% of guitarists have had this if they were in like, you know, if they're like 12 years old and have a guitar. It's literally that guitar. It's like cherry red. That's what I first started learning on. I started picking that up, and there's an acoustic. I had like a Honer, and, you know, playing stuff that I learned from Guitar Hero, just here and there. Then I quit, didn't play. Middle school, high school, never played. But the music influences were coming and going, right? Like, my brother was introducing me to, you know, Dave Matthews Band, Widespread Panic, Grateful Dead, things like that. They were just kind of slowly introducing myself. I had my own journeys. You know, I'd listen to like, I was listening to pop country in like freshman year of high school. And I feel like that stuff even has like an effect on you. Even though I don't listen to much of it today, like those melodies stick with you, whether for better or worse. And it's super interesting how it happens over time. But then, I got into, had so many different phases of music. You get into like the rap, early rap, like not early rap, but our 2000s rap. That
Yeah, I'm still in that right now, man. The 80s
Yeah,
too.
of course, like that music's great. And but then, I later go back and listen to like stuff that was made at that same time that was like, a little more deep cut, like MF Doom and just like
Dude,
stuff like that. That's
yeah.
like amazing. Like, it's
Great
so
artist.
good. But
Anybody out there,
yeah,
highly
but at the time, high school, I'm like
yeah.
listening to Red
Right.
Hot Chili Peppers. I had like there was a phase where it's like I'm only listening to music for like baseball hyping up, and it's like I'm listening to DMX
Yep.
and stuff. And then so still hadn't bought a guitar, or rebought one, I guess. Then I get to college. Music taste didn't change much freshman year. And this is, I guess, a heavier topic, but I basically took mushrooms and suffered like a panic attack for the first time.
Ego death
Um,
type of
Not
thing.
necessarily an ego death. A kid I knew, like uh, he had a seizure. Didn't know he had epilepsy at the time.
Mm,
And like when you're on shrooms, like he took the same drugs I had, so I kind of went.
right.
Um, so like I kind of suffered a little bit of like some panic attacks and stuff.
Sure.
But it's something I've managed and stuff over time. But it kind of changed a lot of like the way I listen to music, I guess, and kind of my outlook in general. But
Yeah.
um, for better, honestly. Like I think it all happens for a reason,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm with you.
but yeah, but my music taste really changed. Then I started I listened to Zeppelin a lot at that
Wow.
point, Led Zeppelin. It
Nice.
was my first time listening to live music a lot, and then I went to Bonnaroo that year for the first time. Um, and I was inspired by so many different artists that year. This is where like the influences just started like rolling in as far as
Yeah.
like wanting to pick up a guitar and like play and make music. And I have the poster right over here. But Krungbin was a smaller band at that point. Actually, they were playing on like the one of the tents, and there was barely anyone there.
They came that year. What year was that?
2017.
2017. Damn, dude. That would so
Yeah, it
cool to
was.
see them at that age. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were so good, and I was like, this is. They only had the one album out, and
Yeah.
I was listening to it on like repeat, and it was so different. I just like tell there was just such a different sound. And Mark Speer as a guitarist is just like he's my
Dude,
favorite.
he is insane. He's the best guitarist I've ever seen in person. Other than it's hard to compare him and like Billy Strings. Those are the
Yeah,
two.
there's just different. It's just different. I mean, the thing is with like being better, it's like there's just so many ways to play guitar. It's been proven over time that it's just influences create more influences, and it just. But I also saw like honestly, one of the most inspiring things for me was like Glass Animals, just
Yeah.
being there and not knowing a single song.
Hmm.
And then but like seeing them, I was like, this is like amazing. So when I got back, I went out and bought a guitar, and while I was buying the guitar, my influences were probably like if you had asked me then, it was Led Zeppelin and Glass Animals, Krungbin. The only well, they've all stuck with me a lot, but then I started learning about like playing music, like really like when you're learning like learning how to play as opposed to like learning to write, and I was
Sure.
so much more interested in like the playing, so my influences changed with that. And that's when like the Grateful Dead and Fish kind of entered the world for me.
Entered the chat.
um yeah, they literally entered the chat. They entered the chat, in 1968, but I
Right.
guess I entered there, like, I
Yeah.
joined their Discord at
Yeah.
that time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, I
2018.
joined the Reddit. Yeah.
Yeah. The
The
subreddit.
subreddit. Yeah. And they started, but that and obviously that's kind of taken off as far as an influence for me as well. And and I try to stay. I mean, the thing is, I'm easily influenced by music. So like, even today I almost was like brought to tears by a song just from like a random jazz album from Joni Mitchell. And I'm
Mm.
like, this is the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's just like, it's just today, like I just came back from a music festival from a band and I'm just like, this is
Yeah, this
you
is
always
great.
think like you always think like in that moment when you're like, you had goosebumps from listening to music. It's like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And, King Gizzard's, I
Are you
like
going on
been such an
Wednesday?
influence on me too.
Are you going on Wednesday?
Yeah, I am going.
You
And
are? I
Geese
don't
is a
know.
wonderful band too.
I haven't decided yet because it's like $80 and it's Wednesday and I got to go to work on Thursday. But I'm like, shit, I missed him at Bonnaroo in 2021 and I missed him at the Anthem the year after because I was on night shift. So I don't know. It
You
might
want
be
a
my
ticket?
calling. I have to
You
go.
want a ticket?
I know, but Grace
You
has
want
to
a
go
ticket?
too, so I'd have to get multiple tickets.
You want two tickets? I w- I can get you some tickets. But yeah, I'll certainly be there. My question is whether I'll be in the pit or whether I'll be in GA. I'm kind of I want to be wherever the mosh pit is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
whether
I'm
that's good.
necessarily a huge mosh guy. I remember actually that's a lie. When I said I wasn't a seasoned music festival veteran earlier, that is false. I actually went to Vans Warped Tour in 2014,
Yes.
15,
Yeah.
2015. And I was in a mosh pit for the first time ever. And I'm like not a small person, but back, I think it was either junior or senior year of high school, I hadn't hit puberty yet. So I was still a little bit small. And I just got the living shit knocked out of me. I think it was at Sum 41, which honestly, phenomenal band. I mean, that was a
Yeah.
huge experience for me, being a 17-year-old kid or whatever I was back then. I wish I could have done that again because since then my influences from rock music have grown exponentially. I wasn't a huge like punk rock alternative,
Oh, Sum
listener
41
back
is
then,
so good. Yeah.
right? So yeah, I mean, I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, a lot of pop music, pop country. So that was pretty much me until I got to college, and then lots of rap, freshman and sophomore year, and then after that, kind of more and more different genres of music. And on Grace, I mean, she's introduced me to oodles of music. So
Yeah. No,
obviously
y'all
a
both have wonderful taste in music. Yeah.
huge influence in my music life. But yeah, man. A couple things you said made me think about how much I think the brain, chemical releases, emotional thoughts and feelings are really, what is it, transcribed by music. I mean, I think we owe a lot to it. It's a huge cultural influence and people kind of just like forget about that sometimes. Like music is so meaningful and it's artistic and it's, depending on what it is, right? I think that, in
Yeah.
today's age, there are some pop songs and stuff that gets written by pop stars and high level people that isn't very musically talented, right? But it's catchy and people like to listen to it. And for that, it has a reason and like it's
Yeah.
artistic in that way, right? I don't
Yeah.
appreciate that as much, of course, as, a band that, writes like Fish, fucking plays for 5 hours. How do you even do that? Is my
Yeah.
question. Like, how can you play music for 5 straight hours? That's wild to me. I mean, the what is it, like the creativity, and I don't know if it's left brain or right brain or that's been debunked however they do it, but those guys must
Yeah.
have huge fucking monkey brains to be able to play music for 5 hours. That's all I gotta say. And with that, um seeing you play music the last couple years has been awesome and crazy, and like you've gotten so much better, and it was super fucking neat to see you play in an actual venue, right, other than like Bodie and Angie's house, because I had only been to I think one or two of y'all shows before you started playing at venues, and that was so fucking neat, man. I want to just say kudos to that. It's so exciting, and yeah, man, I'll be there for some more in the future.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, but yeah, I could easily talk about this. I mean, this is the band I'm in now hasn't been a band that long, and it's been really wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, but of course, I was in Headlights, which was that band that you had seen at Cabell's Hill,
Hmm.
which was like partially a Dead cover band, partially some originals were thrown in there, some mostly covers though. And then the band I'm in currently, which is bigger than the Cowboy Killers, we've started on, I think January 19th was our first show technically.
Really?
Playing at, yeah. So it hasn't been our first show in Richmond was River City Roll in February, at like 804 the first 804 Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've it was kind of like a random thing where I actually met Will, who's presumably Big Red. Um, I met him at like I was selling him a wah pedal, a guitar pedal, through Facebook Marketplace, and he walked in. I was like, oh, here, and he's like, could I try it out? I was like, yeah, sure. Let him play through my amp and stuff, and then I just grabbed the guitar, started playing with him, and then we like became friends and played open mics.
Yeah.
And I learned that he was formerly in a band, uh, like a blues band with Aaron, who's the bassist now in Big Red and the Cowboy Killers.
Yep.
And so we started playing together. We actually played Cabell's Hill, and I was on drums the second year.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is super fun. It was just learning drums, just because I want to be able to write drums was why I wanted to learn drums. And it was, I feel like you have to play a show in order to like
Sure.
really understand an instrument, or hundreds of shows to really understand an instrument.
Yeah.
But then I had another gig lined up, and it was going to be me, Aaron, and Will, and I was like, oh shoot, either I can drum or we can find a drummer for a one-off thing, to play this like festival. And they were just like, yeah, we know a guy. I was like, all right, cool. And then Mook just shows up. Mook, Machine Mook's his name as well on Spotify. Wonderful stuff. And he just kind of shows up at this like garage jam we were doing. And even the first notes were just like amazing. Like everything was just like flowing, and ideas were just like boom, 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 boom. So we're like, all right, this is gonna be like, you gotta just like laugh at yourselves, like this is gonna be a band, like and it's been so much fun. We're playing at Hardywood on Friday. I'm not sure when this episode will release, but and then we have so many other dates lined up. We've just started recording for our first EP, or first and second EP. We haven't really decided, but we've had these songs for a while too. Like we've had them for 8 or 9 months. So we've just been playing them live for a bunch.
Yeah.
Kind of honing them in. It's kind of a running thing when you improvise with music. These songs, it's like, do you want the live, like raw feelness of a song, or would you rather, live music to me is improvised in a form, and it's a lot more like an ocean, like a ship on the sea, flowing, crashing, everything. Things go horrible, things can go great. Like, it's just, and then like recording music can also be like putting a, like in a bottle, like a ship in a bottle kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where you take like, the little like bottle end and you're trying to fix it up. So we're trying to, kind of do that balance of like how much energy can we have on the album while really making sure it's like honed in.
Yeah, and I think it's all about what you guys want to create collectively, right? Like, there's no right answer for this. I think it's art. It's whatever you guys want to do, right? And I think
Yeah.
me as a listener, I'll appreciate that either way, because what you guys have been doing is unique. I mean, I like all your music. Plus, what did you play at fucking Anytime Beer Company? It was towards the end of the night, and I was like, oh my god, this is fucking awesome. It was a cover of like maybe Pink Floyd or something.
Yeah, we did another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
dude. And it wasn't exactly a cover. You changed some shit up, right?
Yeah, that we
Yeah.
changed up Love Shack a fair amount. We also change up Brick House. We'll play Brick House with Willie the Pimp from Frank Zappa, and Heartbeat of America from Billy Strings. So we'll mix it up. We don't really, there's no rules in Brick for sure musically, which is really nice. It's really liberating.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the last thing you want is like an artist, a creative, right? Is to draw lines in the sand. Because, like, I don't know, at least in my perspective, those lines are meant to be crossed. And you need to try new things and be different, And I think you guys are succeeding at that. So
Yeah, we all have crazy different influences. Like I'd say like my three influences, like main ones recently at least, have been like Khruangbin Fish and King Gizzard, and then like Mook has like an R&B background. Um, Aaron shares a little bit with me, but he also has like a lot more of like the Primus stuff. I mean, I love Primus, but like he has a lot more of the Primus stuff going on. Will has like very much like country background as far as like guitar wise. But we all so much different kinds of music that it's really nice. You just like, it's like, oh, here's this like metal riff. It's like, okay, cool, let's do it. You know?
Yeah, so funny. And I just want to say I appreciate that event too. Like the kids that were in the band before y'all, Nancy Raygun, they came and sat with Bruce
Great.
and I chatted them up. They're going to be on the podcast in a couple weeks here, actually.
Hell yeah. Yeah, great dudes.
Yeah, but they seem like awesome guys. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just
we played with some really great bands and stuff and other artists that we've shared with. We're actually playing with Alan Same of the Difference. We played with them recently. I don't know if you know Will Evans, Tom Sononi, but good friends of ours.
I might have met them at y'all's house or something.
Yeah,
probably.
Will's a Freeman guy, or he went to high school with me, in Grace and stuff. So, but they we're playing River City Roll on Halloween with them.
Nice.
So
that's exciting. Yeah, I've got. You say you guys are at Hardywood this Friday. What time is that?
6 to 9.
6 to 9. Okay, I think I'm going to a show at the Broadberry at like 8.
Who you seeing?
One of our clients is I want to say he's the bassist in the band. He's a dentist.
He's a dentist?
Yeah, I forget the name of it. They're also Richmond heads, but they're in their 30s. I want to say late 30s.
Cool. What kind of music?
I have no idea.
That's fun.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm gonna look it up right here. August 23rd. It's Lamp. Their side chick is their band, but Lamp is.
Oh, they're awesome. Also, Lamp is awesome. Lamp is really awesome.
Lamp was super interesting. I didn't know anything about them. I looked them up, and it's super interesting. It's like Japanese, like R&B type of deal. Is that a good way to describe it? Like, it was super interesting music. I'd never heard shit like that before.
It's good.
So I kind of want to go.
You'll have fun. Yeah.
So maybe I think my buddy Ben is coming down. You might have met Ben. So I'm trying to find some stuff to do. So maybe we come hang out for a little bit and then go over here, since it's right next to my house anyway. So just walk home. But dude, Broadberry, can we just talk for a second of how incredible it was they took that column down?
Oh my gosh, the column. Yeah, the column. I loved the Instagram handle where it just feel like it just like show pictures and just like the artist would be completely blocked by the column. Broadberry is a tough venue. I mean, I love the Broadberry. It's like one of those like lovable Richmond venues. But God, we were at me and Cabell Hill go to a lot of shows together and stuff, and we were at Jenny Lewis, and we've also been to Butcher Brown, where it's like a sold out show, and it's like it's a hallway, so you're just like, if you're not there early, you're like way in the back, and oh my gosh. But the column made it even worse. Like, you're in the back, and then it's also just this like sight line that completely blocks out everything.
You also can't see anything. Yeah, I took my buddy Graham. I don't know if you met him. I brought him to one of y'all's shows at Angela and Bodie's house. I guess at your house too. What was that? Probably like 4 months ago. And Kendall Street Company was playing at the Broadberry the night before, and he was in town, and he's 6'7", so not a very short dude. He's been on a bunch of these podcast episodes. It's Graham. Anyway, we get there, and he's not small, and I'm not small. And he's like, I kind of want to stand near the back so people can see. And I'm like, fuck, I feel terrible. Two giants standing next to each other, and nobody in the back can see. So we feel bad standing up near the front, and then we can't really see it near the side. And then you got to order drinks. So that was just a cluster. And anyway, I took him to see you guys the following night. He's like, oh my God, that was so much better. Yada, yada, yada.
Well, he could get up front and not fucking with you. No,
yeah. Yeah, that was more his vibe of music anyway. Kendall Street and Company, not shit on them by any means, but
they're wonderful. I think one of the guys was I think Cabell saw the guitarist for them Actually at Munda Green at the
Oh,
festival.
that's super neat.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, they our friend Michael's like 6'5" too. I want to get him like there's like these shirts that like it's just like it just reads on the back like I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to be tall or something like that. You just wear
I
those
feel
with
so I
shows.
feel so bad sometimes. I'm not even that tall. I'm like pushing 6'3", and like I still feel a little bit tall and out of place in the crowd. And like Grace, she's always wanted to be up towards the front, and I'm just like
Hmm.
standing there like trying to be a pole. I feel
Yeah,
awkward,
yeah, yeah,
but I'm trying
yeah.
to enjoy the music.
It's only I feel like it's only really bad when you like set up and you step in front of someone who's like really
Yes,
short,
yes.
and it's like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to see anything.
And I've been there, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not a confrontational person like that. If I have to,
Yeah.
I will for certain shit. But like, I don't want to harm,
No,
not
no one.
necessarily harm, but hurt the person next to me. Right? We're all fellow humans, right? I don't want to block somebody's views just so I can see better, because I can already
Yeah.
see fine because I can see over everybody. But yeah, the collectiveness of music. I don't want to, ruin anybody's vibe. So just try to be cognizant about it, but there's not much I can do, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's GA.
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought we could transition to some sports for the last little sector here. I like to run it anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how the conversation's going. If somebody has a hard stop for dinner, whatever. But
Mhm.
since we are differing ends of the spectrum for fan bases, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of chat you up about that. I know, you're heavily into football as well. We could get started with a little bit of college athletics, I think, before we get into the NFL. And I just want to kind of ask you how the transfer portal has strengthened or weakened Tennessee over the past couple years. Fuck you for taking Hendon Hooker from us and actually playing him like he was supposed to be. He could have been good at Virginia Tech, but I don't know what Fuente was doing. Stellar quarterback. So I
Yeah.
was very, very happy to see him succeed, at that school. But kind of how's that shaken out the last couple of years? I don't really know a whole lot about Volunteers football.
Tennessee and the NIL and
Yeah,
I feel
NIL.
like you got to,
Sorry, forgot
yeah,
about
you
that.
got to like the NIL era thing and the transfer portal, I feel like are two separate things. NIL is obviously like a really good thing. Um, and that has helped us tremendously. Tennessee's always been one of the richest and like most caring fan bases, like probably top 5, 10
Yeah.
at the very least. And their NIL was set up very quickly, and is now like one of the most well-running NIL practicing NIL teams, and it kind of resulted in. I'm not sure this is exactly why he committed, but I'm not even gonna pronounce his last name because it's very Hawaiian, very Polynesian, hard to pronounce. But it's his name Nico. Um, he's a five. He's like he was a 5-star quarterback, and he was number 2 behind Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be very good. He put up like 35 points on Iowa, um,
Ooh.
with the help of our defense. But like, and Iowa has a usually very good defense. He's
Yeah.
looking really good. Like he's a surefire as a thing. And then
Mhm.
on the transfer portal side, it's also a big benefit to Tennessee because we're just underneath probably like the Georgias and Alabamas as far as depth, and so we'll get people from the top notch, like the very top notch schools that just can't start there, and they need playing time, so they'll just jump one step down,
Yep.
down to like the second, teams fighting for the playoffs spots now, which is that also helps Tennessee immensely. Tennessee's, as far as I see it, they're a top 12 team going forward.
Yep.
Almost exactly that, which is means the new playoff format, they're in a very, very, very good spot. Because it's supposed to help. I think it's really supposed to help out the SEC teams and the Big Ten teams that are like not quite Alabama and Georgia.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
so the NIL era has helped us. The transfer portal era has helped us. The new playoff system helps us.
So all
And
positive.
Yeah, it's really been really good. I mean, even 8-4 last year, and I think we wanted better results, but I don't think any Tennessee fans were like, oh shoot, like this is a huge downturn. It's because we have so much like coming back, and there's so much potential, and uh, I think we're a well-run athletic department now. We did not used to be. You can go look up the whole thing with like the Greg Schiano, Jeremy Pruitt, and Butch Jones, which was when I was in school, which was pretty tough. Those are fun years. I think we had
And
our worst record in school history while I was there.
oh man. Yeah, we went on a big downturn when I was at Tech too, but
Yep.
one thing I wanted to say, if there's any time to turn
Didn't
that
think
shit
that.
around,
I did
yeah,
not think that was going to happen. I thought
I know,
Fuente
right?
he was one
Me
of the most
too.
surefire deals
Me
ever.
too. Me
Yep.
too. But anyways, like what I was saying is there's any time to turn that shit around, it's now with the NIL and the transfer portal opening up. And that's where I think it's really gonna hurt schools like Clemson because they're not actively participating in that as much as they could be. I think they're going to drop down a couple rungs over the next, 5-10 years with their reluctance to do so with the
Definitely.
NIL and the transfer portal, and that's why it's so important that you guys set up that shit right away. You're efficient. You're in the business now, and it makes it a lot easier for kids to come to Tennessee and be like, hey, they have a whole structure for me making money and going to school, getting a degree. Why would I not go here? Type of deal. But back
Right.
to the Fuente thing, man. Our team in 2016, when I came into school, 2016, 2017 was fucking loaded. I think there were probably 10 draft picks, not first round. Tremaine and Terrell did get drafted in the first
Yep.
round together, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that was until the following year. But there were like 10 draft picks on that team,
Mm-hmm.
and we progressively got worse and
Worse,
worse
worse. Yeah.
and worse until the point where there was no Beamer recruits left, and Fuente couldn't recruit for shit. I think we were the bottom most recruiting class in the FBS. I think my sophomore or junior year of college, which is embarrassing. As large of a
Yeah.
program as we are,
Tech should be. They were competing for national championships not too long ago.
yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
crazy. Yep, and I think Pry has done a great job of turning that around. Getting players to want to come to school there. So that's a huge thing. You're never going to get anybody to come there if you don't offer anything, right? Like,
Right.
so
So
yeah,
I have a question.
yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you want? Would you rather get picked up by the SEC or the Big Ten?
That is a great question.
Because
I
it'll probably
think
happen.
I think travel wise and regional wise, I think the Big Ten is better for us, especially for smaller athletics. But obviously, I'd love to go to the SEC for football. I think that would create a large allure to our program, and I think we'd start to get beefed up. But I mean, it's like the whole Stanford thing in the fucking ACC. You think kids are gonna fly on a Wednesday to go play tennis against Louisville? You know, like what is that? You know what I mean? Like that's the shit I don't understand. Like for all the
It'll all
smaller,
come crashing down. Yeah.
right, all the smaller sports, swimming, tennis, field hockey, all the stuff that's not getting national attention, these kids are getting put through the ringer to play 3 games a week with these schools that are all over the place. So, that's my perspective, to save those kids some nightmares. I'd like to see us in the Big Ten, but the SEC is the better option, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen some conversations about it. It always kind of turns out the SEC is like looking for like UVA and UNC, I think is
Hmm.
what their voice said.
Yes.
I think it's a market thing. They just want North Carolina and Virginia, but I don't know
Yep.
why they're kind of. There's always been talks that it's UVA and not Tech.
Yeah, I think
I
I
guess they
think
just want another Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I think what I was hearing I listen to the ESPN radio every day, when I'm driving to and from job sites and shit. And there are a couple guys I love, a couple guys that I don't like so much, but one of their takes was the reason why they want Virginia is because they're so strong in non-football sports. I mean, their baseball team's consistently ranked. Their swimming's insane. They have a good basketball team. So like those other sports, they're hoping will prop up the SEC in other ways, right? And maybe
Mhm.
once they're in that market, they might create a larger space for their football team. So
Yeah.
not saying that I love it, of course, but
Yeah.
that's
Tech's
their
actually pretty good
reason.
sports otherwise too, though. So I don't know. Yeah, UVA's so good at other sports, but
Wrestling, like we're not really
basketball's pretty
consistently.
good.
Yeah, we're pretty good basketball, but like the last couple years, we just can't break. We can't break the mold. We can't get through. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Women's basketball, great, and then we fucking gave our coach to Kentucky. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah, I think Tech could really join the SEC and be like uh, a powerhouse too. But I think they'd also do better in the Big Ten. Um, I think SEC is going to turn into more of a bloodbath, especially for football. Um, and to join that bloodbath now seems like for any team a bad idea. I mean, the Big Ten has like a lot of middle of the road stuff, which not to say Tech's there now, but Tech's like a fringe top 25 team right now.
Yeah,
And
man.
the Big Ten might be the big push that gets them, more recruits. So
Yep. And I cannot tell you a year that I was more excited for Hokies football than this year. I think there's been a lot of hype surrounding our team the second half of last season.
quarterback,
Drones is nice, man. I played with him
yeah,
on
he's good.
college football 25. He's fucking sick. I want to buy a next gen console just so I can play that game.
Yep.
So
It's
bad.
on. Wait, do you not have a PS5? Do you have a?
I don't. I have a computer and a PS4, but I bought. So a little bit of a backstory here. 2 years ago, when I was still working at Kiewit, mega general contractor, all over the U.S. or national, we had a bunch of like discount pages and like shopping marketplace, whatever. So I had done research for like 2 months. I was on night shift, so obviously I did my work, but then I had nothing better to do than look at TVs for hours.
Yep.
Did a bunch of research, and I finally found a TV that I was going to spend 700, 800 bucks for because that was right around my budget. And I'm scrolling on this marketplace, and Samsung's got a mega sale, and it's one of those frame TVs, but it was a different model. It's called the Serif, and it was 2400 marked down to 775, and it's 4K, 120 hertz. It can run like pro mode, all that stuff, like all
Yep.
the bells and whistles. Not an OLED, it's a regular LED TV. But other than that, I mean, I'm like, shit, dude, I gotta spend the money. I gotta get this. I
Yeah.
don't have
This
another
is my
opportunity.
TV.
Yeah, and I bought it in anticipation of getting a PlayStation 5 because it was coming out right around that time. You maybe a little
I got
bit
mine right
earlier.
here.
Yep. There we go.
Which
And
I
I
might be
bought it.
selling.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I might be in
we'll
the
see. I
market.
might. Well, I might be moving to a PC. So
Yeah, that's what I'm building a PC right now. But if I do get a PC, I'm gonna have to buy one of those elite controllers anyway. Because the last 8, 10 years I've been playing with scuff controllers with the paddles on the back. So like any first person shooter competitive game, I can't really play on controller anymore. I have to play on keyboard because my fingers like it's muscle memory at
too
that
much.
point. I've been
Yeah.
playing for 10 years, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I bought it in anticipation of getting a PS5, and that is yet to happen. So you met Bruce, Grace's sister's boyfriend. He came down the other weekend. The ladies were out of town at a bachelorette trip, so he brought the PS5 and we played max settings on my TV, and it was wonderful.
Oh, the game looks so good.
I know, man. It's phenomenal. It's crazy how far that's come. I remember playing like NCAA football 2013 on my PlayStation 2 or 2011, whatever it was, one of the last ones.
2014 was the last
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. God.
I'll remember. I remember because I still probably I'd pick it up right now and play it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's why it's worth so much money. I think they're worth like 70 or 80 bucks a copy of the game now or something
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I got my copy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I collected all the other sports ones and weren't worth shit, so I sold all them off. I do have a couple good games though. Still, I have a couple of good PlayStation 1. I've got like Star Wars Battlefront for PS2. Lego Star Wars, fun stuff. Yeah, yeah, some good ones. But yeah, man, I'm still waiting to get a next gen. I've almost bought an Xbox because there's this one. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a refurbished electronics website, and they basically do buybacks from a lot of large corporations, for PCs and stuff like that, and then they offer it at a discount to whoever. They're a e-commerce site, and they have an Xbox X on there for $250 right now in like new condition, and I'm like, dude, $250. I could put it on the 0% interest payment plan. I don't
You
need
just
it.
don't even notice. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't need one. I need to buy. So I bought a chip already. I bought the Ryzen 5 5600. I think is what I bought. So I'm searching
Uh-huh.
for a GPU next, but I don't want to drop $250. But that's what I'll have to do. $300 for like a
Yeah.
3070 or what is it, 6700 XT. I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's money, but it'll last me
Yeah.
a while. So
Yeah, certainly. But you can't play. I mean, if you have the Xbox, you can play NCAA 25 on there.
I know it's like all those fucking exclusive games that they keep on specific networks just to try to get you to buy that console.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
we
know
saw,
why they didn't put that on
but
PC though. I feel like everything goes on. I mean, shoot, even the biggest names in Sony have gone to PC now.
yeah,
Like The Last of Us, obviously, and God of War, I think, is also on PC, but
you're probably
I could
right.
be wrong on that.
And I think you can play all those games if you have a PS Plus subscription or like the Xbox Game Pass. You can download that on your computer. I'm pretty sure you can play those games
Played
through that.
regardless.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it would be silly if they don't eventually open it up to the PC or Steam platforms. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I guess that transitioned me to one more thing before I let you go. Talk about gaming for a second because it sounds like you're pretty well versed in that. I wanted to ask what your favorite game of all time was, but yeah, let's do that really quick, and then we can kind of talk about what we played. I'll run you through kind of what the consoles I had and everything after I hear the ultimate top.
Yeah, I almost have to split it into like categories of like I went on this streak of playing games, which was like crazy for me. It was like during COVID, so of
Hmm.
course, I
Yeah.
played like um I played The Witcher,
Okay.
which is like if you can get past kind of the start and the tough menu for some people, like it's a little grittier of a game.
Hmm.
Um God, that was good. Then I played The Last of Us Part
Uh,
1, which when I put that down, I'm crying and this is the best game ever. Played The
yeah.
Last of Us Part 2, I threw my controller. I was like, this is just it's just ridiculous. And then I played like Horizon Zero Dawn. Like I can't keep playing these like I was like started it
Did,
and I was like
did you like
this
that
is a
one?
really good game, but
I heard it was
huh?
pretty good. I said, did
It
you like
is
that? I
it's
heard it was
really
pretty.
good. It's really good, but I just played these other absurdly good games and um I think The Last of Us Part 2 is like the one that like it's just perfect. Like it's the second one is just perfect.
Hmm.
Something about it for me. Um, but then there's still new stuff coming out. Like Elden Ring changed. Like the art of Elden Ring changed, and I'm very much like a single player or like an online with like a couple people kind of person.
Uh-huh.
So Elden Ring was just like the art on it. I'm actually getting like a tattoo tomorrow from the game, where it's like a tornado and like this architecture, and it's just like this
Uh-huh.
beautiful. I remember getting like sucked into a portal, both literally in the game to
Uh-huh.
like another land, but also like playing the game. Like I just like got like
Right.
went to a portal, and I'm like, here, there's this like world that's crazy, and then and and my girlfriend likes Elden Ring, so she didn't make it past the first area, but she still just liked being in that world, which I think the best part about it. And then never been a D&D guy, but never was against D&D or anything. But Baldur's Gate 3 was like
Oh, I've heard that game is wild, dude.
it's so fun. It's
Yeah.
ridiculously fun. For someone like me, I just like I'm very much like a like can I can I do that? Like
Uh-huh.
and that game answers yes so much. It's like, "Oh, can I do this?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Like and you could just, you know, but to answer your question truly, I think the best game of all time is still Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Oh, I think that's a
I think
great choice.
yeah, I think that's the best game. I still play it today. Like I'll play it just kind of casually. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm at the Water Temple now, which
What's the
screw the Water
what's the red
Temple.
one that was on Game Boy Color? I still have that. That was my favorite Legend of Zelda game. You know what I'm talking about? It was the red label because I know there's a red one, a blue one, and then a gold one.
Are you talking about Pokemon?
No, 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 no. Legend of Zelda. No,
I'm not sure.
one of my one of my favorite like video game series is probably Pokemon.
Pokemon's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I actually have Bulbasaur right here. You probably get, we won't be on video, but or we'll have video on this, but yeah, got a little.
Here it is. Oracle of Seasons.
Oracle of Seasons, yes.
Yeah.
I
That
remember
was my
playing
first one. Yeah, that was my first one. And the only one that I've ever beat, actually, which was crazy.
They can be Zelda games can be hard. Not the
Dude,
newer ones, but
especially
they
on
can be hard.
the fucking. I had an SP, which I still have. Actually, it's right here.
Oh, let me see that.
Yeah, I've got an SP right here. I've got my DS with
Oh,
Emerald in it. I have. If you ever want
do
to
you
play,
have Advance?
I don't have an Advance. I have a DS and an SP. But I still have Leaf Green, Fire Red, Sapphire, Ruby, and Emerald.
Emerald.
All with working batteries. Emerald's my favorite. Emerald's my favorite handheld game of all time. Easily.
It's the best.
I've beat that game. God, dude, I can't even tell you how much. I remember with the little backlit SP, I would stay up in my room just ripping fucking trainer battles until 2 a.m. when I was in middle school. I mean,
catching Rayquaza was like the peak of like. Oh, it was the best. That game was so good.
Did you try to do it in one go, or did you hard save right before you walked up to him, type of deal?
Oh, I hard saved. Yeah. There's no chance I'm taking a risk with Rayquaza. It's like my favorite legendary.
Yeah, I used to beat it and then play it all over again until you got to the mall and entered the raffle for the Mega Ball, and I got it one time. So I was able to use that to catch, what was it, Latios or Latias that appears after the game.
Oh my god,
impossible.
Oh my god, catching like I remember the shock as a kid when you like saw Latios, like pop up and you'd be like, oh my god, there's like this is like my one shot at.
Yeah, because it would take.
You just throw the best ball you have at the time, and
it would take 20 more hours to try to find it again. I mean, it would literally take forever.
And I used my master, or I didn't use my master ball on Rayquaza, for that reason. Obviously, if I saw, but that made catching Rayquaza like insane. So.
Oh yeah, and I remember never being able to catch. I think was it Reggie Rock, Reggie Steel, and Reggie Ice until later on, once YouTube was a thing and they came out with the game guides. Because I didn't want to spend $25 on the fat book at GameStop or whatever to figure out where to, or the code.
Yeah, $25 as a kid is brutal.
Yeah, exactly. So I was trying to figure it out without doing that, but. Yeah, that was all fun shit too, man. Like a bunch of hidden stuff and puzzles within the game that you have to do that's outside of the regular storyline. I just, Pokemon was so huge for me in that way. I was just like, problem solving adventure type games like that. Yeah, and I remember I had Diamond on the DS after that. Those are my two favorite.
What's your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon? Probably Torchic still, because I picked him every time. When I started Emerald, Torchic, Combuskin, Blaziken.
Would you evolve Torchic?
Yeah. I got Blaziken every time. Hell yeah. I also let's see, favorite one of all time though. That's a good question. I like the legendary birds. I got a good Moltres. I think it's Korean or Japanese card. That's pretty cool. I also like the, what is it? Is it Machamp, Machoke, and Mega Champ? Is that the one with the 4 arms? Or you had to use like a stone and trade him to evolve him? I don't know. The Gen 3 Pokemon are all my favorite because that's I grew up playing that game a million times. So any of those, to be honest with you, but probably Torchic.
Torchic's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I still use I use a Charmander or a Torchic as my bookmark in my books because I got a bunch of extra cards.
Yeah. I kind of wish I had the cards in my. I don't.
Yeah, man, a lot of money in it. We were chatting about that before, but I got them locked up in the closet for now until I can complete the whole base set, which is I'll have to spend.
If you have a Quagsire card that you don't want, I would love that, or a Flygon. Those are my two favorites.
Oh, true, dude. Those are super fun. I used to always pick them up in the desert because they were technically dragon type, right? And they learned dragon
and ground, which is just very unfair.
OP as fuck. Yeah, I remember
flying dragon and ground.
That's why I got what was the other one? Shelgon. I got him too for that reason. Because
Salamence. Yeah.
you wanted a dragon Pokemon, I think, towards the end of that game, right? It was super advantageous to have, I think, at the Elite
Yeah.
Four level, I want to say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
man.
So that and Quagsire, if you find any of those guys,
Yeah,
that's
I'm sure I got one of the two. I know for a fact I do, and those Gen 3 cards aren't really worth any money. So yeah, I'd be as soon as I get them out next, I'll try to keep that in the brain bank so I can give that to
hmm
you. Man, dude, talking about Pokemon brings me back 15 years. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah. Shit, it kind of sucks that you can get emulators and play whatever you want now because part of the joy of like owning the physical copy was like, I have it and you don't. So you can borrow it if you want, but I own it type of deal.
Yeah, I downloaded that like Delta app that you can like run on your
Yeah, I have it
iPhone. And I
too.
was like, and I haven't done anything with it. Like I'm just like not inspired by it necessarily because it's not like. But if I had like a Game Boy Advance with me, I'd pick it up and play it right now. You know?
That's what I'm saying. You're welcome. You're welcome to borrow it at some time. At some point, I've got a bunch of
Yeah.
games and a charger and fun stuff. I also have a bunch of random ass games too that I collected as a kid. I have like Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, Spyro. I have
Wait,
one of the
what's your
Spyro
favorite game
games.
ever?
My favorite game ever. I'm probably in between the Spyro trilogy on PlayStation One. If you've ever
Do you know
played
who did
that,
the music for that?
I don't.
It's Stuart Copeland, the drummer for uh, the Police. He did the
Really,
music. Yeah,
dude,
best drummer ever. Yeah.
the music in all of those games is phenomenal. It's really well
Yeah.
shot. Yeah. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Probably that or like Black Ops 1 because that's the first multiplayer game I got on console when I was
Yep.
14, I think, and that was a game changer.
Yeah. It's when you stopped hanging out with your friends in real life.
Yeah.
Guys, can we go back and
Exactly. I mean, after baseball games, we would all come home, play Search and Destroy till like 12:30, 1 o'clock from Silence
yeah.
from Moss.
Hmm.
Yep, and that kind of snowballed for me into all the other. I played a lot of FPS games,
Uh-huh.
and so like throughout my high school career, still have a ton of YouTube videos on YouTube, like competitive sniping and compilations and all that fun stuff.
What's your
So,
game right now?
Rocket League is what I've been playing right now. I've been playing
Timeless.
I've been playing Fortnite for since it came out, but that's gotten a little stale. The OG season's returning in November, so I'll probably hop back on that. But once I build a computer, I think it's going to open up my wider berth, right? I'll be able to play a bunch more games. There's a lot more cheaper available indie AAA stuff on Steam that I could try out. A lot more sales
Oh,
going
if you want
on.
indie games, I got you, man. I love
Yeah,
playing little.
yeah, so I think I'm going to get more into that type of stuff when I finish building my computer. One that I really wanted to play was Mini Royale. If you've heard of that one, it's in beta, I think, right now.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's basically a battle royale, but you're a toy soldier, like a little green army soldier, and you run
Yeah.
around in like a playroom with like blocks and fucking shovels and all kinds of stuff, and you can parachute around. But it's basically
Sounds
like
awesome.
Fortnite. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm waiting. We talked about Warhammer. We hopped on here, but I'm waiting for that Space Marine 2 first person shooter game. I don't know if you've looked at it yet.
No.
It's my biggest question is going to be whether like the servers can handle it. But as far as like looks and feel of like the videos I've been watching, it
Whoa.
and biased obviously, but most Warhammer games kind of suck. Most video games do, but this one looks like so phenomenal. Like I would definitely check out the trailer if you're interested in just like a first person shooter. It's got a Helldivers esque
Yeah.
type gameplay, or not gameplay, but has a mode like that, and then it has a co-op campaign, and it's supposed to have a player versus player like 4v4 with
Yeah.
like heavy troops. It looks really really good. It's called Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
Um,
Right here. It looks sick. I'll put the link in the
yeah, and the,
description.
the graphics look amazing. Um,
That's the other thing too, man. Like if I don't have a console, my computer that I have currently, I've had for about 4 years now, and I bought it pre-owned when I was in Denver for like $300. But it can't handle that shit. Like I can't run any of these games like above 50 frames. So it's not even worth it, for me to play
did
it on
too.
there. Yeah. So I run all my games off my PS4 mostly, and I'm not getting optimum.
Stuff there, yeah, because that's even aged out.
which is craziness. I can't believe
Yeah.
that. And I can't believe I can't go walk to fucking Target and buy a PS5. That's what's even crazier to me. It's been almost 3 years, hasn't it? More than
Yeah.
3 years. I don't know. Let's
Yeah.
see. When did the PS5
I think it was
come out?
2020 or 2020.
November 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Almost 4 years.
God. Yeah. I got mine from GameStop, I think. I just like looked up local GameStops and one of them
Yeah, one of them
had
had it. Yeah, I just can't bring myself to. I'd prefer the disc version. I'm a big physical copy guy, but I mean, at this point, I'm not buying anything that's not just on the store. I'm not walking to GameStop and buying a game anymore, unless I'm buying it for like one of my older consoles, in which case I'm probably still shopping online to purchase the physical copy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, man, you'll have to come over. Maybe once I get a setup going, I'll get all the old games. We can rip some of them. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
But
I love old video games. Love new ones too.
yeah, I wanna get more into like RPG type stuff. I just like every time I feel like I want to sit down and play video games. I'm like, I have 45 minutes. Let me just get in some Rocket
And
League.
you have your friends and stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've always wanted to play a little more of that, but I've never found time. But that's just a personal preference. I could probably do it if I wanted to. So I want to make it a point to do that. Actually, I'd love to play this Zelda game again, the Oracle of Seasons.
But
We'll do that.
yeah, that'd probably be really fun. They have another, I think Oracle Seasons is like top down, um, if I remember right. But
Yes, I want to
A
see
Link
it.
to the Past they made a remake of, and it's a similar style um, of a game. And I played that and it was so fun. My girlfriend really likes Zelda.
Do you have a
Um,
Nintendo Switch?
yes, yes I do.
See, I need one of those
You
too.
know, okay, yeah, you need one to play like half the Zelda game.
Yeah, I need one of those. Not only because it's like a good handheld console, it's probably a great like living room console. If you don't want to put
And
your kid.
mobile,
Yeah, yeah,
like mobile as in like I'll take the whole thing and just go to like my parents have a house in the Outer Banks, and I'll just bring that along with us. We can play Mario Party, whatever, whoever's there.
yeah. Drunk driving Mario Kart. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. And this is something I definitely love to do again if you are interested.
For sure. We can always talk more sports because those change all the time.
All right, well, perfect. I do actually have a sports series that has not come out yet on Spotify, and at the time of the posting of this episode, it'll probably be released by then.
Cool.
But I'll schedule you for a time with those guys too. It's two of my buddies. One of them's a huge Philly fan. The other one is just a sports history nerd. So it's a good mix of knowledge because the one dude is much more up to date with like current sporting events, news, stuff like that, and the other dude could tell you shit from the 70s, right? And it's like
That's
it's
so
like there's
cool.
always yeah, it's always great to have context in those sort of like conversations. So yeah, I'll get you on there too because we schedule once of those about a month. Once a month we do that. So definitely something I'll hit you up about for sure.
Yeah, I'd love
But
to. God,
yeah, man.
being a Phillies fan, man, that's tough.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hey, the last like month it's been a little tough. They've been sucking shit, but they're back. They're back now.
I mean, the
Uh,
Eagles' last football season was not fun.
I know. I know. Very interesting. Grace and I had a conversation about that yesterday. I was like, I don't know, man. I'd be a little worried.
Yep. Yep. Well, also, I mean, Steelers. We'll see.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, they fuck you Justin Fields
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Russell Wilson." Rah. I'm like, "Yeah, but we spent no
We
money
got
on
rid
those
of Matt
guys."
Canada. Everything's
Yes, that's right. But we got Arthur Smith instead, so I'm praying that it's his what is it, 2020 and 2021 seasons at
I
Tennessee.
think he's. I think he's. I think he's a good coach. So
I think so too. I think he was just ill prepared for a head coach role.
I think just whoever's the GM of Atlanta is just like whatever they're doing. I don't have no clue. They're just
Yeah,
they have
before
like
we go here,
ADHD or something. That's
before
just like
yeah, before we go, what the fuck are you doing? You're not telling your guy that you just signed for $180 million that you're drafting a quarterback in the first round. Like, how is
yep.
that good business?
He definitely just watched like the Oregon like Washington game or whatever, and was just like, okay, they're drafting this guy. But he's like, okay, we'll sign Kirk Cousins too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I cannot believe they didn't tell him about that.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing to me. I'm like, you have this guy that you're spending a lot of money on. It's not like he's making a little bit of money. He's coming off was it ACL, Achilles? I can't remember.
Achilles, towards
Achilles?
Achilles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
coming back.
not jealous of teams that have quarterback purgatory.
No. Honestly, I'm a Kirk believer. Do I think he'll ever win a Super Bowl? Probably not. But is he a mid-level guy that'll prop up your franchise for a couple of years while you find a guy? Sure. So
Yep.
I had no issue with the signing. It's just the fact that they went out and drafted a quarterback in the first round right after that was kind of crazy to me. But hey,
yeah,
I'm not a GM. I'm not a coach. Don't take my advice, right? And half the internet too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all hating on it. But yeah. Yeah, man. All right. Well, I guess this is a good time as any to wrap it up. Before we go here, though, why don't you give a rundown of your social media links for your music or personal stuff, kind of whatever you want to do, so we can get
My
that out
plug.
there to all the listeners. Of course, everybody listening now, you can find that below in either the YouTube description or the Spotify description. All events and stuff will be there. But for those of you listening, I'll drop it for you right now.
Yeah, so my band currently is at Big Red and the Cowboy Killers. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Spotify. You can find us on Bands in Town. That's a really good way to hear about us. We have a couple shows coming up. We got playing this Friday at Hardywood. I'm not sure when this episode will drop, but
No, it'll release after that. So probably, yeah. I mean, are you booked out into like October yet? Because I've got.
how about this? Halloween
There we go.
at River City Roll. We're playing that night. It'll be a super special night. So if you're listening, show up to that and be dressed in your favorite costume. And then yeah, if you play video games, that's vsteen21 on PlayStation. I don't know how much longer I'll be on PlayStation. But my Discord's also vsteen21, and I'll do crossplay stuff. And so yeah, that's it.
There we go. That's actually a great idea. Maybe it would be fun to put that out there. Play some games with some of the podcast viewers, huh?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. There we go. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do something like this with me. It was great. And I'm sure, everybody will appreciate this conversation. It's good to hear raw conversation from somebody that loves some shit, right? Like you're just very passionate about what you do. And I love that about you. And that's one of the main reasons why I asked you to be on this show. We've had genuine conversations, many times. And, in the past, I never realized I was going to want to do this, type of platform thing, a podcast.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Like,
but yeah, you were always up for it, man.
It reminds me just like when you're like having a couple beers and just like, you're just talking to this guy and you're just like, holy shit, like there's a world I didn't know about or something like that. It's such a cool, like I listened to the Bees thing and I was like, this is so interesting.
Yeah, dude.
So it's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, Mackenzie's awesome, dude. He's cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, man, I really appreciate it. That's what this is for. Genuine conversation about, what people are passionate about. And I appreciate you taking the time. Everybody out there, go show my man Vincent some love on all of his socials, Big Red and the Cowboy Killers. We'll go see them at probably their show at Halloween. My calendar's booked out for like 6 months, so hopefully I don't have anything going on that weekend.
Yeah, me too.
But anyways, thank you guys for listening. You can find us on all of our socials at Slanted Attic or the Slanted Attic Experience, and we'll see you guys on the next one.